What it do, flight crew? FTC. Flight team stand up! Hey man, with the PS5 and the Xbone 1 series that's coming out very, very soon. This winter break, man. Sony's been announcing a lot of different, features, to get people to, buy the PS5 and see what it's about. Now, what we got today is the official PS5 controller. I know this was announced probably like 2 days ago when I'm reacting to this. I'm kind of late on this, my bad. But, you guys know what the Ps4 controller looks like. You know what I'm saying? It's what I'm holding up in my hand. It's something that I got to replace every week because it gets cracked or broken. For me, only slamming it one time. Sony needs to fix their materials. I've been saying it. Now, we're officially having what it looks like and everything. One of the things that I'm still confused about, what I do not know what to buy yet, I want you guys to comment down below. One in the comment right now if you're going to buy the PS5, or two in the comments if you're buying the Xbox One Xbone series. But with me, I'm trying to stay with the PS5 as hard as I possibly can, but the problem is it's backwards compatibility. There's been so many different things, and people have been showing me that, okay, look, there's some sources saying that they have backwards compatibility, and then they come out another week saying they're announcing something that it doesn't have backwards compatibility. So it's just like, I need to find out probably 2 months before the game is released or something, bro. It's really, getting stressful because I need to figure out what system I am going to cop for this next gen systems. But without further ado, man, let's see what the PS5 controller is looking like.
All right. Sony has announced the official controller for the PlayStation 5. It's not much.
No, hold on.
Kind of been, trickling out info for us, but there's some key takeaways.
Bro, is this Xbone or PS5? What's Sony? Like, bro, you're literally. Why did you copy a whole Xbox controller? This looks like an Xbox controller. You just ripped off the you ripped off the Xbox sign and then put the PS sign on top of it. Like,
here, it's me, Jake, and let's talk about this. The PlayStation 5's official DualSense controller. Let the hot takes begin. Dropped out of nowhere as news on the PlayStation blog here today on April 7th, we got our first look at it. In the post, Sony says it's shipping out final versions of it to their developers working on first-party titles.
See, the thing, I like the PS5 system. The system looks very convenient. It looks, like small enough where it can fit in the corner of everything. The problem with the Xbox, it's really going to be hard to have because if you see my setup right now, I already know by the time the new systems come out, I'm probably either going to be moved into a new place, by the time, or have a different setup regardless. But right now, I cannot even fit it. If you see my setup right now, I literally have just enough for everything to fit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I barely have enough to roll up my tree. The PC that I use when I stream games and everything, that's the size of the Xbone, bro. Like, this right here, this could fit. You could fit like 5 of these things, bro, Like, basically, that's the thing.
The developers making the games who will use its unique features the most, they're getting their hands on it, so now they figured they'd show us. Okay, cool. First, let's talk design, man. This is probably the biggest full design refresh of the DualShock we've seen yet,
bro.
Why
did they do that? Like, if it wasn't broke, don't fix it. Why did you change the design of the controller? That doesn't make any sense. There was no reason to change it.
Honestly, I'm surprised. I almost thought it would just have the same old look it always sort of has, but the design cues here are substantially changed up.
They're doing too much.
Notice the curves and the different angles here. Still, if you just take away the black and white and maybe make it all black, now it looks much more like the DualShock 4. But you notice the general curvature, specifically around the outside.
It doesn't look anything like it. It looks like an Xbox.
It's quite different. The joysticks are now also housed completely in the controller. The round plastic circle things that hold them in are no longer lower than the middle of the controller.
Oh, okay, so that means you can slam them more.
I think the slickest thing is the light now on the sides of the touchpad. That is super nice. Full disclosure, though, before we move on, if you guys watch our Friday news show videos, you probably know I'm a sucker for tech, especially clean white tech like this. So, yeah, I am into this design. I have no real horse in the console war race, but I do like this look. I do wonder how well that white finish will hold up over time, though.
Ew.
With greasy, nasty.
Ew, bro. If your Xbox controllers back in the day in 360 was looking like this, bro, don't even come near me. Don't talk to me, bro. Don't do anything. This is how viruses start right here. This is fucking disgusting, bro. It's not hard to take your shirt and wipe that smudge away. This is disgusting, bro. Bro, I remember going over a homeboy house and the shit was looking like that, bro. I was like,
But again, I do really wonder about the ergonomics here. The shape.
The ergo
kind
what?
of rounder, more curved shape. Sony said it has been tested on a wide variety of hands and is optimized. But of course,
why was
only
this dude
time
so
will tell
huge?
when we actually have it in our hands.
Dude,
That
like he
type
was
of
like
stuff you
7'8".
can't make judgment on until you hold it. I also think it's funny we've immediately seen people bringing up the PS3 Boomerang prototype. Like, hell yeah, dude. This is probably the closest we'll get to that.
That's
I
better.
I was a fan of that. Also, shout out to @SteadyCam on Twitter who tweeted this at me. It's kind of got like an Avengers Endgame Stark time travel suit thing going on. Very curious to hear what you guys in the comments have to say about this controller overall. Anyways, moving on, you can see it is charged and connected via USB-C, aka the best USB port. This is something that we've already kind of known, but it's nice to actually see it here in action still. The share button looks like this now, although Sony points out that it's no longer the share button, but the create button. Okay, it will have the same share button features, as well as new stuff Sony simply hinted at that they'll talk about more at a later time. Now take a look at the triggers here. Definitely a change, but not really an overhaul. Still doesn't look quite like a full enough trigger if you ask me, but in this news post, Sony outlined what they briefly mentioned in the past. These triggers, L2 and R2, will have adaptive triggers built in so you can, and I quote, truly feel the tension of your actions, like when drawing a bow to shoot an arrow. That sounds kind of cool and innovative, like they resist how much you can push them for certain points. Sony also reiterated the use of haptic feedback in the controller as well, to have more sensitive and more varied vibrations, like feeling different textures on different roads in a racing game, stuff like that. This is where Sony's whole dual sense thing comes into play, because they wanted to incorporate a more of a sense of touch, the feeling in your hands when you play. The gimmick? I don't know. Maybe Sony is saying that this, coupled with their new 3D audio tech, will all really heighten the immersion. But I think, again, that's down to the individual player to decide. Regardless, Sony has said that they, and I quote, took thoughtful consideration into ways to maintain a strong battery life for DualSense's rechargeable battery, and to lessen the weight of a controller as much as possible as new features are added. Now, battery life and weight are, of course, the biggest things for me and a lot of people. All of the new bells and whistles are great. You can add those on, but still, at the end of the day, you can take them away. You still need just raw input. That's what's most important here, and I'm glad that they acknowledged weight and battery life. One other thing I want to point out.
Wait, they got this shit has batteries?
Into ways to maintain a strong battery life for DualSense's rechargeable. They, and I quote, took thoughtful consideration into ways to maintain a strong battery life for DualSense's rechargeable battery, and to lessen the weight of a controller as much as possible as new features are added. Now, battery life and weight are, of course, the biggest things for me and a lot of people. All of the new bells and whistles are great. You can add those on.
This controller, why are y'all trying to be like Xbox now? This shit just said it has batteries now? Are you serious? Or if it has that charging cable station thing, I mean, it doesn't really, it kind of cancel it out, but still, bro, don't go to batteries.
Take them away.
I hope I'm reading this wrong.
Raw input. That's what's most important here, and I'm glad that they acknowledged weight and battery life. One other thing I want to point out that isn't getting enough attention, this controller will have a built-in microphone array, which Sony says will, and I quote, enable players to easily chat with friends without a headset. Ideal for
that is lit as fuck. That's lit as fuck. I don't even gotta get on a headset no more. I kind of like that right there. You know what I'm saying? But, hey, but that's no fuck some people over if they don't know how to, like, mute their settings and shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? If you got a little baddie in the house and shit like that, or you doing some other things you shouldn't supposed to be doing. You know what I'm saying? They'll be able to hear that, or say things, they'll be able to hear. But
of course, if you're planning to chat for a longer period, it's always good to have a headset handy. Yeah, that to me, that is actually kind of cool. If you think
that's kind of tight.
Some potential here, but
nice.
How many casual folks are gonna have this thing left on while they're playing a game with the TV on full blast, with their kids crying in the background, with the stereo on? I can see it now. I could hear it now.
Facts.
Hopefully the push to talk is like default on. Well, I'm glad that we know what it looks like now. One, because it's just something fun to talk about, but also two,
that's lit. You don't even need a headset anymore, yo. I like that. That's my type of controller.
The hardware box too. What that's eventually going to look like when they reveal that. Now the controller features sound like nice additions.
How much y'all think this gonna cost? I'm already saying this gonna be like $80. It's gonna go from $60 to $80.
Totally distracting gimmicks or anything that takes anything away, but maybe not blow the doors down.
What the fuck
I
is
love
that?
the way the controller looks. Like I said, I just hope it feels good to hold and can disappear in your hands when you play.
Right,
that's
yo.
the most important thing.
I don't like
and we won't know.
huge, big ass controllers, bro.
But that's what you need to know. Of course, we want to hear from you guys in the comments. Be sure to let us know if you would have sex with this controller.
What did you just ask?
PlayStation 5 and the DualSense.
All right, man. Hey, man. That's what I kept it all, bro.
We're looking forward.
Comment down below what you guys gonna get, or what system you're gonna end up copping. And what you think about this controller? Is it an upgrade? Is it a W or is it an L? I feel like it's a lowercase W. They could have changed the design and not made it look like such an X-bone controller. You know what I'm saying? Like, be yourself, Sony.